We are in back to school season, and of course that first day can bring a lot of big feelings, some excitement, perhaps nerves, and maybe, well, hopefully not, a few tears.
Yeah, how can parents though tell when those back to school jitters are a normal part of the transition or when they could be a sign of some anxiety that might need some extra support? Joining us this morning to talk more about this is Dr. Fehlis with Baylor Scott White Pediatrics. Thank you so much, doctor, for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Thanks again. So first, how common is it for kids to experience some kind of nervousness or even anxiety when school gets started back up?
Oh, almost every kid will feel some of that disquiet when starting school. It's like an adult starting a new job. This is their full-time occupation. They're stepping into a new environment. They don't know what to expect of the routine and the schedule. There may be uncertainty about being challenged academically or whether they'll get along with their teachers, get along with their classmates, some of whom might be new, some of whom they've met before and may not have done well with last year. So there's lots of things that kids might be nervous about.
Well, you picked up on it there. I mean, we focus on what can be considered normal back to school anxiety, but are there certain behaviors or maybe complaints that parents might notice more often?
Yeah, I mean, some kids manifest their excitement physically. You'll see them bouncing up and down when they're talking about school and they're just so excited. But others might look ostensibly nervous, and parents know what their kids look like when they're nervous. They might talk about being nervous or might talk about worries. Kids don't usually use the word anxiety. Um, Trouble sleeping is a really common sign that we'll see, both with normal jitters and with bigger anxieties as well. So a lot of kids will have problem settling in for sleep. And then you might see kids processing things by talking about them. And so kids might repeat the same questions over and over again, trying to figure out what's going to be expected in the coming days.
Okay, so a parent may be seeing some of this in their child and wondering, how long should this last? What's normal? And at what point should a parent maybe think, okay, this is more than just first day nerves?
Yeah, most of the time, once a kid settles into the routine and they know what's going to be expected of them from day to day, then they're going to get in that rhythm of school, and the jitters should fade out in the first 1 to 2 weeks of school usually. But if you see that nervousness about school growing over the school year, once they know what's coming and they're even more worried about it, then there might be something more to look into. And really, you're gonna have more to look into if the worries are bigger than what the situation warrants. That's when we step into the anxiety realm instead of typical worries. So if you see your kid physically ill, if they start vomiting before they're going to school or really can't sleep at all in the nights before school, or they're paralyzed with fear or crying uncontrollably, those are signs that it's something more and you should look into it.
Yeah, what would you suggest parents do if, a child exhibits some of those more serious symptoms related to this?
Yeah, well, start by talking through what is normal. And some of these things are things that are normal, and kids just make them bigger in their own minds. Talk about what's exciting and what is expected, what's not expected. So if there are specific worries the kid has, try to feel for those. When you're starting a new school, you might go in advance, find an opportunity to walk the hallways, see where their bathroom is, where their classroom is, what the cafeteria looks like, and how they're going to know to go through the line, where the school nurse is, that sort of thing. When you're talking about school, use language that builds the school as our helpers. Don't talk about the teachers and the administration as disciplinarians. Talk about them as people who want to help you learn, and they're trying their best to help you learn. If the kid is struggling with the material itself, that probably does need a little bit more. You might go to the school and ask for a meeting with the teachers early in the school year, see if there are signs of maybe a learning disorder like dyslexia or signs of ADHD, something that would benefit from a different approach for the school, or maybe the school and the parents working together in a different way. Sometimes we see that kids have gotten used to a lot of screen time over the summer, and then they go back to school, and school is a phone-free zone, and they are not ready to deal with the very different pace of a school day versus the ultra fast pace of video games or YouTube when they're on their own. And so taking some time before school starts to detox off that screen and wean off of that hyper fast experience, and live more time in the real world, face to face with other people in the days leading up. Shifting sleep schedules also, most parents know that you're going to have to get back on a decent bedtime before school starts, but they don't maybe know that getting up in the morning is just as important, and being exposed to some early morning sunlight can make that shift easier to happen. So that's a tool that parents can use too.
So many good tips and resources as so many of our kids go back to school. So Dr. Kim Fehlis with Baylor Scott White, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure thing.